first of all, I want to say good morning or good evening wherever you are in the world right now to everyone out there. Today I get to sit down and have a conversation and dialogue with a great friend, mentor, and someone I look up to, Sam Thiara. And Sam, first of all, how are you? How's your family? How's everyone doing?
You know what? We're doing well. It's a unique time, challenging time, but equally at the same time, embracing the positive aspects of the situation that we've been facing. It's good to know about the challenges, but
Sure.
embedded in the challenges are those opportunities. So seeking out those opportunities and working through it.
Now, as an educator, I've been talking to a lot of people. When this all started to happen,
Mhm.
what were you thinking about when it came to, the future of education or current status of education and students and all that kind of stuff? What's your insights to that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think what this has really done is shaken the environment and again, I use it in the words of a positive way. Uh, I will tell you, I do miss not being in the classroom. I thrive in that environment of engaging my students, and fortunately, I had 10 of the 13 weeks in the spring that I was able to be in the company of my students. And then the last 3 weeks, that's when the situation changed and we had to go to a virtual platform.
Yeah.
It worked. Now, I think I have always been adaptable in that regard, and it wasn't so difficult. I mean, even prior to all of this, there were times where we would either have a snow day and the campus is closed, and instead of just saying, okay, there's no lecture, I would actually do an audio voiceover of my PowerPoint slides and upload that onto our platform so the students could still get a full lecture.
Great.
I appreciate it. Maybe they didn't, but the fact that they still got the full lecture may not have been the best for them. So I think that this whole system shift, we're going to pivot. I think you don't want to go back to a system where we're antiquated, but you also don't want to go into a system that is fully online. I think that now that we've got an experience of both of these, let's pull the best from both of them
That's right.
and create something that's more unique, that serves a bigger purpose.
Do you think we were ready for this? As far as education, about you said the transition of going online, virtual. Are we? Are educational institutes giving the best possible opportunity right now for people to learn using virtual?
Yes, I think that part of it is the fact that when during week 10 of 13, we suddenly had to pivot and switch to virtual. Okay.
Yeah.
It really shook up the environment. People scrambled. People weren't sure what to do. But since I had already been doing my audio voiceover, I think I was better prepared for that, to at least tackle that. The way I equate it is, it's almost like in March when all of this went down, it's
Yeah.
like preseason.
Yeah.
And now that the summer term is starting up again in a couple of weeks, it allows it to, in other words, I'm better prepared now to hit the summer term in a much more full comprehensive way.
Yeah.
So I think that on the whole, universities and colleges and schools have had to react to the situation, and I think that they've done a good job based on how they've had to be flexible and adaptable. Uh, and we learned a lot along the way. But now this is going to make us, for colleges and universities that are open in the summer term, we now go forward better prepared.
Yeah.
For primary schools and high schools, when September hits, if we're still in this situation, I think they're going to be better prepared.
I mean, so how's life changed for you? What changes have happened for you? Yeah. Tell me.
I think the thing that really has changed for me is the fact that I'm an individual who's an extreme extrovert. I love going to events. I love being in the classroom, engaging people. Having these one-on-one coffee chats, I do anywhere from 3 to 8 per week. And that has all had to shift and change. Events that I would speak at, whether it's regional, national, or global, have all gone.
Yeah.
But what I have found, though, is we can still connect
Yeah.
and we can still have these conversations It just means we're not doing it in a physical presence, but we're doing it virtually. For example, I just booked a speaking opportunity in Saudi Arabia that's happening in May, and it's all going to be done virtually. And it's not as, again, it's better if it was in person, but they still see the value of having a virtual conversation with somebody.
Of course, yeah.
So that's the part that's changed, is the whole aspect of, you can't dwell on what we're missing.
Yeah.
I think what we have to do is move forward and say, but how can I be adaptable in this situation?
Great. So I asked you what things have changed. What things have you gotten done during this time? I know a lot of people, I have, I've really gotten into my own work at creating content virtually, had a lot of time to think, reflect, clean my house, all this kind of stuff. So what things are you accomplishing during this time? How can we be encouraged? Yeah.
Right. I think for me, the situation hasn't really changed much of what I would do anyways, because a lot of time I'm spending building my lectures or class content, writing co-authoring another book, or these are things that I'm able to do in the comfort of my own house, which I was already doing.
Yeah.
Just the physical piece of meeting people, engaging with people, that's the part that's missing.
Yeah.
I don't think I've changed a lot with regards to having any sort of add-ons that I've now done. So, I think that it's just been a continuum with some adaptability to allow me to still do what I was doing before.
Beautiful. I learned from you, so I'd love to learn. What have you learned during this time? Yeah.
Actually, I think one thing that has really become significant to me is the fact that I always like to capture things into bite-sized nuggets.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing is there are 4 things that really emerged that I found looking at the situation. The first word is adaptability.
Yeah.
It's a realization is, again, there's a need for us to be adaptable.
Yeah.
The second thing is resilience. In other words, this whole idea that, we are going to get through it. But it relates to the third thing, which is the word collaboration.
Yeah.
The only way we're going to be resilient is through collaboration. Now, it may not be in the physical space, but we can collaborate on a virtual space. I mean, I'm still doing, actually, I think it's even increased in volume. Normally, I'd be doing 3 to 8 coffee chats a week.
Yeah.
It's now increased to maybe about 10 to 12 virtual Zoom conversations, Facebook, WhatsApp, but people are still wanting to have these conversations. And the last one, I think, is compassion. I think that compassion is so critical at this point,
Yeah.
where I think we need to blend all 4 of those things together in order to really work collaboratively, compassionately. It allows us to build this resilience. And how are we going to be adaptable in this whole process?
Yeah. A lot of the time I've been thinking, what shifts, I make it so personal, what shifts do I need to make? I don't love giving advice because I'm not sure if it'll apply to everyone, but, is there any takeaways that you'd like people to know about through this process? And, I know that we all need to be resilient, but, there's people that are going through a tough time. Let's be really honest. And, I know some of those people. I've had great conversations with them. I've done the best in my ability to comfort them based on my knowledge, my empathetic sort of feelings towards them and their situation. But, do you have any advice for people out there right now on how they can get through this in a positive light? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I think you were talking about earlier, or as we've been talking about, is we have this space and this time that's been given to us. I don't look at it as, oh, this is a great thing that's happened. But again, I think we need to reflect that this is space and time that's been given to us.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do with the space and time?
Right.
So a lot of the conversations I'm having with people are like, okay, so now this is a good time for introspection, self-reflection, personal development. What are some things that you've wanted to do in the past that have held you back? What
Yes.
are some of the things that you would like to now embrace, and how can you embrace them? So I'm having conversations with people now that are saying, this might be a good time for me to start the master's that I wanted to do.
Yes.
Or I'm having conversations with people saying, you've written your book. I'm thinking of writing a book. What are some of the things that maybe I should be doing
Hmm.
to write a book? So again, I think that this is a great time and an opportunity for us to self-reflect. And maybe it's also having a conversation with ourselves. I think that we're so focused on what we do. Maybe this is a good time to figure out who you are.
Yeah, that's great.
Because once you know who you are, you have a better opportunity to then reflect on what you do, and maybe what are some changes that you may want to embrace.
There's we're my work is in storytelling. I've been fortunate enough to get information and hear from some fascinating people throughout my life. And I think what I've advised people is that this is the best time to see what their own personal story is who they are, who they want to be, how they can become that through this process. And you are right. This is an opportunity to stop. And we always talk about, there's not enough time in the world to do, like,
Mhm.
they're basically saying stay home, or whatever it is. And are there some resources that you're finding are helpful out there online that you might refer people to? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of what I've told people, I just sent out my newsletter, and
Yeah.
part of what I said is, I'm willing to have a conversation with people, and there's no charge for it. I mean, or obligation to book any further appointments or things. It's just, what, this is my way of showing compassion and collaboration. So what I would say is, this is a good time to find key people that you respect and admire, reach out to them
Yeah.
and have conversations with them and say, look, we haven't caught up in a while. You know what, Sharad, beautiful thing happened this morning.
Yeah.
I have a student who sent me a long, long text message. And she just said, I'm about to graduate university, but I remember that you were my first instructor for the first semester. And here's the life lessons that I've learned from you, and what you pulled or provided me that gave me confidence to move forward when I wasn't feeling strong.
That's right.
But I haven't talked to her in about 2-3 years. And now she reached out to me. And what this means is I sent her a note saying, I need to do a Zoom conversation or Zoom T-chat with you, which is what I often call it.
Yeah.
And now this is going to happen. But this is where it's a great opportunity for people to reach out to people.
Yeah.
Even people you haven't talked to in a long time, to say, but how are you doing? And, what are you up to? But equally at the same time, have it so it's a two-way dialogue. And I love what you do. I love the fact of storytelling and personal storytelling, helping people pull their personal stories. Everyone's life is an autobiography.
It really is.
Make it.
First of all, I want to thank you for your time. I personally, been touched by our conversations, many that we've had. I've had the opportunity to interview you, and there's many facets of conversations that really I take away, and I think it's the ability to that you come from a place of a lot of integrity when you speak to anybody that you talk to. Like it's a brilliant thing that encompasses when I think of you, and I just want to thank you. I want people to know, you're an international author, you're an international speaker, you're an educator, and you're just a great person. I really, really think that, the idea that you're willing to share and make time consistently, even in times like this, where people are tending to go inwards because of a lot of things that are going on in their head, that people like you shine. And I wanted to thank you for that. And thank you for your time today. Any final words, anything you want to say to everyone out there? Yeah.
I think the last thing that I want to share is this, and I think it's very important at this point, and it goes back to that puzzle analogy, because do you know what? This is what people feel like. They feel like this single piece of a jigsaw puzzle. They're isolated, they're social distancing, but this is what they feel like. I really want them to understand that instead, you are everybody who's out there who listens to this, they are going to be a part of someone's puzzle. And equally, anyone who watches this, you're part of my puzzle.
Yes.
If instead of thinking of yourself as that singular piece, understand that with other people's puzzles, their puzzle will be incomplete without you, no matter how significant or maybe even insignificant you feel, but never feel insignificant, because that puzzle will always be incomplete without you. So I think that's a really important lesson for us to understand, is the fact that we aren't alone, and the fact that we have a contribution to make no matter who you are.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much for your time, your energy. Look forward to more conversations like this. Thanks.
Thank you so much.